I'm Marivic Mabanag, International School, Class of 1976. For 6 years, I was the proud recipient and Filipino scholar at the International School of Manila. During that time, I had the amazing privilege of studying at one of the most prestigious high schools in the Philippines. The school instilled in me a number of lessons that I have carried on to this day. But from the beginning, my parents instilled in me the value of education. That seed was planted in me. My grandfather was the former Senator and Secretary of Justice of the Philippines, as well as one of the first Filipinos that started the Philippine Congress. He instilled in me the importance of a life of service and responsibility for our community. Those two things combined and the rich and diverse experience I had at IS brought me to where I am today. While at the international school, I felt that I had the amazing experience of being with people from all over the world. I believe it was about 28 to 30 different countries. And that taught me the importance of celebrating diversity and appreciating differences in people. It also showed me that it was important because during that time, the Philippines was undergoing a time of turmoil in the 70s. And as we know, the Philippines went through martial law, the dictatorship under former President Ferdinand Marcos. Life was difficult, and it really began to teach me of what do we need to do to help better our country. And IS taught us, and me and other students, how to participate and serve in our communities. I remember being the volunteer and committee chairman of the Philippine School for the Blind, so we were teaching kids there, and a number of other activities for the community. But I think what was so impactful for me was that reflecting now 40 years later, there were 3 wonderful things that I learned there. The first is the importance and impact of education. That education helps people progress from poverty to a life of growth and success. The second is the alliance between education and philanthropy. To educate is from the verb educare or ducere in Latin, which means to lead forth. So as educated people, we can lead forth in making our community better and making ourselves better. But the philanthropy, being a Filipino scholar, showed me that philanthropy, from the Greek word philanthropia, which is love for humanity, or love for people, that as recipients of a scholarship, we are not only showing our love for people, but planting the seed of that legacy of education and the alliance between education and philanthropy. And finally, the third thing is the gift of really combining our education, of the privilege and responsibility of educated people. That there is a responsibility and a privilege that we have to help make our communities and our world better. And I feel that I carry that throughout my professional and personal life. So today, I feel that I can honestly say I'm a community leader, a change maker, and a better world builder.
After graduating from the International School as a Filipino scholar, Marivic was then granted a 4-year scholarship to Wellesley College, one of the most prestigious colleges in the United States. She graduated in 1980 and became the commencement speaker following some years after former First Lady and now presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, who graduated in 1969. Upon graduation, Marivic began a career serving on the staff of 4 city mayors in Boston and San Francisco, working on a number of innovative social programs. In the 90s, she left the public sector to work in the nonprofit world. She helped start one of the first shelters for pregnant and parenting teenage women and their children by converting an old convent into a residential program. In addition, she spearheaded the $40 million Youth Violence Prevention Initiative in California, the largest privately funded effort in the United States. In 2006, Marivic was selected as the Executive Director of the California Partnership to End Domestic Violence, the first woman of color ever to hold this position in the history of the battered women's movement. In this position, she served as the Chief Executive of the State Domestic Violence Coalition of over 200 member organizations, and as the policy leader in state and federal policy matters. During her tenure, she helped develop and pass several significant pieces of legislation to increase the protection of domestic violence victims and their children. Ms. Mabanag was selected and appointed by Governor Schwarzenegger to the Human Trafficking Task Force, which issued its report, Human Trafficking in California, with recommendations and implementation guidelines on SB 22, the legislation that made human trafficking a felony in the state of California, the first such legislation in the United States. Marivic is the recipient of many awards, most notably the Top 100 Most Influential Filipino-American Women in the United States, 2007, Partners for Justice Award, Asian Pacific Islander Legal Outreach, 2006, Lifetime Achievement, Filipino-American Democratic Caucus of the California Democratic Party, 2006, Outstanding Service Award, Regional Substance Abuse Authority, 2002, Meritorious Service Award, Idaho Hospital Association, 2001. These days, Marivic is most proud of her work in the healing ministry at a sanctuary for healing and renewal. With her husband, John Quincy Adams III, an international speaker and practitioner of spiritual healing, they individually and together help people realize the healing power of prayer to transform their lives. Marivic Mabanag is a seasoned policy leader, activist, and social entrepreneur with over 30 years' experience working for the public, nonprofit, and private sectors. She has dedicated her professional and personal life working on social change initiatives to help attain equality and justice for all.
And what does this mean for you and me? There is a Chinese sage who once said, "If you plan for a year, plant a seed. If you plan for 10 years, plant a tree. If you plan for 100 years, teach people." That's what it means for Filipino scholars and recipients of these scholarships, that we can then plan for this legacy to continue for many, many more years to come and many, many more recipients. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.